right, here we go. So thank you everyone for coming out today, and of course everybody that is on live stream, thank you all for tuning in. We are here today with one really big message, and that is that RFK Jr. has to go. And so, yeah. There we go. And so we'll go ahead and get this thing rolling. I'll start us off, and then we have Congressman Glenn Ivey, who will be following me up. Big shoes to fill for you. All right. So I stand here today wearing three identities. I'm a mother, I'm a scientist, and I'm an activist. And as a mother, I call on RFK Jr. to be removed from office. This man, he has to go. This man is endangering my family by eliminating key offices that identify and address the spread of preventable communicable diseases. This leaves my child and yours at a greater risk of life-changing and deadly illnesses, even when we do everything right as individuals. As a mother, I have participated in the social contract with other families that we don't want to lose our children, and we know our peers don't want to lose their children to preventable diseases either. The gravity of that type of loss is enormous, and I've committed to myself and to my family, and out of care for those around me, that I will do my part as a mother to prevent families from experiencing this horrible loss. And that is why I have vaccinated my family. That's right. When we as a society deviate from the social contracts like this, people die. RFK Jr., for no reason other than to harm families, is destroying this social contract. As a scientist, RFK Jr. has to go. 3 weeks ago, I proposed my dissertation after obtaining I did this after obtaining two master's degrees, one in clinical psychology, one in statistics, and I started my PhD in clinical psychology at Emory University. I'm in my 10th year of secondary education. I do research for a living in an area identified by Bobby and the Trump administration as a key area of research. I study addiction. I take what we have learned about addiction to alcohol in model organisms such as Drosophila flies and bumblebees and mice and rats and elephants and non-human primates. Do we have any Drosophila people back here? No? Okay. And I translate that knowledge into ways to better identify people who will go on to become addicted to alcohol. To do this, I develop testable and falsifiable research questions. I make my hypothesis to predict whatever we think might happen under various circumstances. I collect data and samples. I use statistics to come to a mathematical understanding of the probability of the null hypothesis, what's correct, and then I write about it. And I say that to make the point that about a few days ago in an interview, Bobby, Jr. said we should do our own research. And as a scientist, I do think people who want to do their own research should be able to do so, but Bobby doesn't. He has overseen the cancellation of STEM education programs that train people to do their own research. That's right. Bobby also said that we shouldn't trust the experts because that's not scientific and not democratic. And I'm sorry, but has he ever taken a science course, a civics course, or read the Constitution? I think not. I have expertise in addiction science. It's my full-time job. When am I also supposed to write a dissertation on measles, mumps, and rubella, the flu, toddler nutrition, the cancer that killed my grandfather, diabetes, and become a dentist, while also being a mother who feeds my son vegetables from my organic garden and unpasteurized milk from my milk cow? I don't know. I don't know when I'm supposed to have time to do that. And I just have the question, did he become an expert in brain worms and mercury poisoning to get that fixed? I don't believe so, and by the way, he did cancel both of those tracking programs at the CDC. As an activist, I call on RFK Jr. to be removed because has this man not taken a civics course? Since when is not listening to the experts against democracy in a representative democracy? We elect experts to represent our best interests, and he is not an expert. This man is killing people. He has eradicated diseases. He has destroyed the crown jewel of biomedical research, dismantled our abilities to keep our families safe from disease, and canceled programs like the SIDS prevention programs that save lives every single day. His lies and intentional disinformation have resulted in violence against our public servants. I live close enough to the CDC that I could hear the gunshots on August 8th. And Officer Rose's wife and children are without him right now because of RFK Jr.'s lies. Any one of these reasons are enough for him to be removed, much less all of them together. And that is why I, as a mother, a scientist, and an activist, am here today. Bobby is a threat to America. He is un-American, he is anti-scientific, and he is a public health threat, and he has to go. All right, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Congressman Glenn Ivey here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's have a big hand for her. Great job. As a mother, activist, and scientist, outstanding work. I got to give a big hand for our dinosaur here. All right. Definitely best costume of the day. And I want to thank all of you all for coming out to stand up for science. Boy, you've been at a lot of these, haven't you? We've got a lot of work to do here because this is a very dangerous time. What RFK Jr. has done is to derail some of the greatest research that's been going on in human history, to fire some of the most talented researchers and scientists and technologists that the world has ever seen, and he's undermining our future with respect to public safety. For all of those reasons, he needs to go, right? My father died from Alzheimer's, and there was a combination he had with that with Parkinson's. And it just so happened that after the Trump administration came in and started firing people who were doing the research at NIH and CDC and in our great institutions, I ran into a woman who was actually doing clinical trials on Alzheimer's, and it got shut down midway. And what she told me was that clinical trials, they're not like a light switch. You just can't come back and cut it on and start right back where you left off. You've got to start all the way over again. And that they'd been doing years of research that got totally derailed for no reason whatsoever. And the research against one of the most scary, dangerous, and traumatic diseases the world's ever seen, for no reason. Measles was another one. Measles, RFK Jr. comes into office, all of a sudden we start having measles outbreaks when he shuts down the vaccination piece for that, starts casting doubt on the efficacy of it, and we keep having the spread, and guess what? He's firing people, or has fired people, who were doing the research to help to fight against measles in support of the vaccines. It makes absolutely no sense that he's doing this, and it's creating a dangerous situation. It's endangering the public needlessly, and we've got to stop it, right? Yeah! Now, one last piece on this, and I think you touched on it a little bit, and this is beyond RFK Jr., actually, it's the entire Trump administration. The war on science and scientists, people who do the work, is unprecedented. We have outstanding scientific research that's been going on here in the United States. We have very talented people who've been leading the way, the innovations and these efforts, and they're firing them from these great research institutions. They're cutting the grants so that they can't do the work at the institutions anymore. They're firing people who bring up and do the training, on the STEM training at the high school level and beyond, and then people who get the grants and the scholarships so they can go study it in college and in grad school, they're getting those dollars cut too. They're choking off the talent pipeline that has made the United States one of the great scientific stories in the history of the planet. Meanwhile, in China, they're doing the exact opposite. They're funding the students, they're helping to expand the efforts for research, they're pushing more money into these programs. I don't want us to fall behind China, not just because it's China, but because I know that we will do great things with the information and the research and the breakthroughs that we get, if we get it. But we've got to continue to lead the way. We've got to prepare the ground for that work. We've got to nurture the people and raise them up so they can continue to do the work, continue to find the breakthroughs, and continue to make a difference, not just here in the country, but across the world. So RFK, get out of the way. Get out of the way. You've got to go. We've got to get back on track and make sure we do this the right way so the United States can continue to lead in science and technology as it has before and should continue to do it in the future. So thanks so much for all of you all for coming out. Keep up the great work. Let's get them out of here and let's move forward. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Congressman. And next up, we have Simon Rosenberg from Hopium Chronicles joining us here today. We're so excited to have you, Simon. Let's do it.
Hey, it's really an honor to be part of this important event today. I'm here to lend my support to the great work of Stand Up for Science, who are helping push back against this unprecedented assault on science, on academia, and our public health in America. I'm really here today because what Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy and the rest of the administration are doing are stealing the future of my kids and my grandkids. I think that when I imagine that all the things that Donald Trump might do as president in his second term, what's happening in this war on science and public health was something that I still can't really believe is happening. It's so obviously something that feels far more like sabotage than public policy. There's no rationale for any of this. What we're doing is we're making the country, through this dedicated, multifaceted campaign, we're making America less safe, less prosperous, less free, and less healthy. And to what end? And to what's the purpose? We're enabling China to move ahead of us. We're hurting American corporations and their global competition with their peers all around the world. This is the most destructive set of policies by the United States government, arguably in all of our history. And so we have an obligation to stand up today and to be part of this movement to push back, to get rid of Robert Kennedy, to restore the funding to NIH and HHS and the CDC and all the other parts of our government that have been illegally and unconstitutionally dismantled by this administration. We have to do it not just for our kids, but for our kids and the grandkids of all the world, because these scientific advancements that we're disabling benefit not only America and all our families, but the families of all the world. This is some of the most important work happening, I think, in our politics today. Because as Congressman Ivey said, the things that are being unraveled, the things that are being broken, are going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to repair. There's incredible urgency to continue to act, to try to get Robert Kennedy and the others in this administration who are doing so much harm and damage to us out of office, and to restore sanity away and take it away from these extremists, these kooks, and these charlatans who are now overseeing public health in America. So I'm here today, yes, clapping is okay. I'm more of a writer than a public speaker. But on behalf of the 150,000 members of my community, Hopium Chronicles, I'm really glad to lend my support to this incredible effort, and to also thank the scientists and the people in the administration who have, under incredible duress, spoken out for their programs, for the science, for the future of our kids and our grandkids. They've shown incredible bravery, and the very least that I can do is to be here to lend my support today. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Simon. Next up, we have Professor Stacia Farina from Howard University.
All right, thank you so much for being here. This is so wonderful to see, and it is so incredibly important that we're all here today and tomorrow for the No Kings Rally. They're already painting the No Kings Rally as un-American. This is the most American thing that we can do. To fight for no kings, no authoritarian control, no tyrants telling us what we can and can't research, how we're supposed to be, overriding experts. And this is what America was built on. This is what we're all about. So thank you so much, and thank you to Colette. It's so wonderful to see graduate students and postdocs as the main organizing unit behind Stand Up for Science. It's an incredible thing to see. Grad students have a lot to deal with, and it's incredibly powerful to see them leading this movement. So I'm an associate professor of biology at Howard University. I have a PhD in evolutionary biology, and I'm a professor, so I'm going to profess a little bit, if you'll allow me to. That's what I do. You can't stop me. All right, so we've been hearing a lot about ideology from the Trump administration, from RFK Jr., and we know that what they mean every time when they say that they don't like ideology, it's just a stand-in for things that they don't want to hear. But let's give them that just for a second, because I do understand why people don't want ideology in science. It's very important that we trust our science as a mechanism that we use to inform policy. We want everything to be evidence-based. We want to have experts. We don't want to throw away expertise. We've worked so hard to build that. And we need to know that when we're making decisions about our health, about curing life-saving diseases, that we have evidence behind us. So I understand, but as we know, they're not using evidence. They're using their ideology. Whatever they want to say that we need to accept from them, that's what they want us to do. Is it evidence that's guiding the HHS to cut funding for life-saving research? Just like Congressman Ivey, I have also lost a grandfather to Alzheimer's, and I may lose people in the future. And we are working so hard to fight that disease. And breast cancer, I was just looking up today all the different things that have been cut. Breast cancer research, brain tumor research. I have several former students who are struggling with a brain tumor disorder. It's to see this research getting cut it's devastating. We will not fully understand the impact of these cuts until many years, and we will never fully understand what we are losing. They are not using evidence to make these cuts. They are using their ideology. They're saying we have to work on what they want us to work on, and they can make whatever cuts we want, regardless of what the evidence says we should be doing. Boo. Yeah. Is it evidence that led us to blame pregnant people taking Tylenol for autism? Scientists looked at that evidence and it was weak at best, and now we're making these big pronouncements and policy decisions based on something that really has no support behind it whatsoever. Is that the evidence-based science we're doing? Is that removing ideology from science? Is it removing ideologies to science from science to cut diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that we know work? RFK Jr. talks all the time about environmental toxins. Why doesn't he want people who are directly affected by environmental toxins, to people who have been historically redlined, black people, into these communities where they're living next to power plants. They're the old power plants that are leaching chemicals. They're living in flood zones where wastewater leakage is a major problem. They are experiencing directly the effects of environmental toxins every day. Why don't we want to bring these people in and hear their perspective and help that drive our science forward so that we can make science something that helps everyone? DEI is not ideology. It works. We know it works. We did it very well, and now we're seeing cuts. We're seeing international students losing their funding, highly qualified people that we are trying to bring in from around the world to train in our programs, to work in our laboratories, and professors that need to be on these visas as well. We're losing our ability to bring people in from the international community to strengthen our science programs, and these people are hurting. These graduate students who want to be here, who want to be doing this work, they're hurting. They're seeing their funding lost. They're not able to come. They're seeing their visas revoked. This is devastating for the scientific community. This is ideology. This is not how we do things. This is not evidence-based policy. And is it evidence, is it scientific evidence that brought us to make major cuts to Medicaid and Medicare and the Affordable Care Act that shut down our government to take those things away from us? Is that, look at that sign over there, Make America Healthy Again. Is that how we make Americans healthy? By cutting healthcare, by closing hospitals? No, we make people healthy by funding healthcare, by funding research, by making sure that everyone has access to what they need. That's what the evidence tells us what we need to do. But to get back to this idea of ideology, Trump has been going after the Smithsonian in particular. We love the Smithsonian. Those exhibits are created by experts who know what they're doing and know how to communicate scientific consensus to everyone that walks through those museums. And he's calling them divisive ideology. And what he's calling, what's so divisive about the Smithsonian? He's saying it's climate change is real. That's what's divisive. That's what he's calling ideology. He's saying it's ideology to say that humans have biological races when we know it's scientific consensus that humans cannot be divided into biological races. We've looked at the evidence carefully, and we know that we are one human race. We are all together. We are all in this fight together. And there's a reason that they go after these things, because they want us to think we're all so different that our differences cannot be reconciled. They want us to think that there are people out there who have bad genes, right? That's what Trump campaigned on, bad genes, that some people are just genetically inferior. That is their ideology that we are here to fight. We know that no one is inferior. And this is classic eugenics that led us to horrific consequences throughout history, such as the Holocaust, and we are not going to let it happen again. Anti-vax is fundamentally a eugenics movement. It says that some people are weak, they're dispensable. We don't need to worry about protecting everyone because only the strong will survive, and that's what we want. That is eugenics. That is a fundamentally corrosive and disgusting ideology that we are here to fight today. Saying that it's acceptable to have people get sick because they have immune diseases, because they're under treatments for cancer, because they are too young, they're babies, they're too young for their vaccine schedule, like my niece Maria. We all know people in our lives that will be affected if they are surrounded by people who are not vaccinated, and they could die. And that is what they're saying we are supposed to accept from them. That is the ideology that they want us to accept. And we're here today to say that we are not going to accept that. And so, RFK likes to inject, not vaccines, but his crazy, conspiratorial, delusional, eugenic ideology into every decision he makes. And he's doing it, and the Trump administration is doing this to keep us divided, to keep us thinking that we cannot work together as a community, that we are different from each other, and that we need to be divided. And we are not divided. We are not scared. We are here today. We will be here tomorrow to fight this and to win. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Farina. And thank you all so much for coming out today. Thank you so much for tuning in live as she finished, and that was exactly perfect. We're here today. We're going to be here tomorrow for No Kings, and then we're going to be here on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and so on until we take back our science. Thank you so much.